Hey y'all, it's Siobhan Muir. Welcome back to Cooking with Siobhan. So, because it is the holiday month of chocolate bunnies, we are going to do a bunch of egg and Easter themed recipes. Now, you might be seeing this video, say in July, or maybe even in December. It doesn't matter. You can make these dishes at any time. But because we're doing it right now, actually, now that I think about it, because we're doing it right now, it is the time of year, like I said, of chocolate bunnies. So we are doing Easter themed recipes. So today the recipe is called baked eggs in ramekins. It's just baked eggs is what we call it, but the original recipe is baked eggs and ramekins. And this was a kind of a nice discovery. It's kind of both a savory and a savory breakfast thing that is a lot more flavorful than just eating eggs. Now, some people hate eggs and they're like, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But my kid, who doesn't like eggs, loves this particular recipe. Granted, she says, I only want one egg, Mom, but she likes all the other flavors that go into it. So it's a really good recipe. Now, Mr. SM is going to do the cooking because he's the cook, I'm the baker. But it's actually a really simple recipe. You just have to get the steps right. That's the only thing complex about it is the steps. Everything else is pretty simple. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna turn it over to him since he's the one who does it all the time and is my personal chef.
One other thing is this was a gift recipe from a dear friend of yours.
Oh.
This came from Chris.
Oh.
So this is a special.
This is a special recipe from my mentor, Ann Suczek, who was a fantastic woman. She stood 6 feet tall and she was a badass geologist. So she was awesome. I didn't know that was hers.
Yes, it was hers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep, I remember that, and that's why one of the reasons why I like making it.
Here's to Ann Suczek.
Here is to Ann Suczek. So the recipe is really, really simple. I'm gonna drink a little coffee and I'm gonna put it away.
I'm gonna hold on to mine because I'm just looking here.
So
cute.
There are honestly 4 ingredients, or 3 to 4 ingredients. You're gonna need a little bit of butter. You're gonna need some whipping cream. You're gonna need eggs, and you're gonna need cheese. That is literally it as the base. If you want to add certain things to it, one of the things that we always like is having green onions in it. So I'm gonna do this with the green onion additive, and then you can season it however you wish. Oh wait, and there's a last ingredient, and that's the cheese. Preferably any hard cheese will work.
Parmesan, Asiago, Manchego, Romano.
Yeah, any hard cheese. So in this one, here's a small piece of Dublin or Irish cheddar. So what you need to do is sort of get everything prepped. So I'm just gonna grate this last piece. I've already cut up the green onion.
If you don't have one of these hand graters, you can always use one of these mini graters. Or even if you just have a big one, there's a mini side. You can just use the small side. You don't have to have one of those fancy ones. It makes it really easy for us. But we found that actually at a garage sale.
Well, that's our second one.
Yes.
That's our replacement at a garage sale. The first one we bought from
a kitchen store.
Like Bed Bath and Beyond or something. It lasted for years until the mechanism broke. How it broke,
but
no idea.
Worst case is you can use one of these small hand ones, or even on your big grater, just use the small size.
Yep. So 2 things you're going to need to do. You're going to need a pot or a pan of water. It does not have to be pretty deep, but you need to have it with enough water that you're going to put the ramekins, and about the only oddity is you do need ramekins. That's it. So you're gonna have to go to, you can get these, I think we bought these at like Walmart or Target. We bought these originally at like Bed Bath & Beyond. They come in slightly different sizes. As you can see, we've got some.
You can also get them at Ross
Yep.
or TJ Maxx with these stores that have just secondhand stuff.
Mm-hmm. So what you're gonna end up doing is you're gonna create the base in the pan, in the bowl. You're going to heat it in the water until it starts to congeal. Once it does that, you take it out of the water and then you finish the other half of the prep. And it's basically a duplication of the first round. And then you put it in the oven.
How long does it take usually to congeal? I mean, just ballpark.
Ballpark, and it plays around with elevation. I would say at least like 4 to 6 minutes, somewhere in that area. You want it to just start to cook. The problem I have seen making this is, well, egg yolks are white. You're putting heavy cream in here.
Egg whites are white.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Egg whites are white. You're gonna put heavy cream in, you're gonna put butter in, and it's all gonna melt. And that's the only hard part.
It's all gonna be runny.
So it's really hard to figure out what part it is. So I usually just go with a standard 5 minutes, let it cook. So the last one I put in, I start a timer of sorts, and then I let it run for 5 minutes. That should give it enough time to congeal, at which point I can take them out and then finish it. So what you're gonna need is generally a teaspoon. The original recipe called for margarine. I don't like margarine. I prefer butter, if I remember correctly. Oh no, we had butter.
Well, first what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you a kind of a ballpark what you need to do. You need to set your oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, 400 degrees Fahrenheit is 204 degrees Celsius. So it's going to be a little less than that. And it says choose one oven-proof dish per person, about 2 or 3. So basically ramekins. Arrange them in a pan containing water up to about half their height and bring the water to a simmer. That's what this is, but I think we're going to have to add water. It looks like it's cooked it all off.
If you'd be willing to add a little
I can
water,
add more
I will
water.
start prepping.
Okay,
So-
and then he's in each dish, you need a half a teaspoon of butter, 1 tablespoon of heavy cream, and 1 to 2 eggs. That's just to set it up, and I wanted to give you that so you're going, what am I supposed to do? You need 1 to 2 eggs, half teaspoon of butter, and a tablespoon of heavy cream.
When I use butter, I usually cut out approximately a 1 tablespoon slice of butter. I like putting a little extra butter in. It helps not make it burn to the bottom of the cup or the ramekin. So rather than cut this into basically eighths or thirds or eighths, I can't do the math off the top of my head. Thirds to get to that half teaspoon. No, wait, sixths, because there are 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon. If I need a half, well, guess what? That's 6 out of a slice of 1 tablespoon slice of butter. So rather than break it down into 6 pieces, I'd just rather just cut it into quarters. It's a little more than half a teaspoon, but less than a full. So I will generally just take 1, and I'll just start with each bowl. And because I'm making 5 today, I'm going to have math problems terribly.
Just cut it into quarters and we'll deal with the rest of them.
Yep, it'll go in the butter bell.
It will go in the butter bell.
And so just cut it. And then, no, we need that.
Oh, you
Don't
need
put that away.
You said you were only going to do it.
I need that for the other half.
So
first half is you put the butter in, then you put in 1 tablespoon of heavy cream.
Per ramekin.
Ramekin.
Right.
Okay. You're going to need this again. So after that, you put 1 to 2 eggs in each ramekin. Or actually, before that, I'm going to put a little bit of green onions in.
Now the green onions again is kind of our added bit that we really like, but it gives an extra flavor to your eggs. So it's kind of, you're almost making a little bit of an omelet.
Yeah, mini omelet.
Now you're not going to break up the eggs. The eggs will kind of cook inside, but
Okay, so now that you've got your fixins in there, you just crack an egg. Any egg will work. We happen to have a really good deal on brown eggs today. So 2 in there. All right, done. You're finished. So what do you do next? You take it and put them in water dish. We'll let that go for about 5 minutes.
Okay, when the egg whites have begun to coagulate at the bottom of the dish, add 1 tablespoon more of cream, add some salt and pepper and seasonings if any, and a dot of butter. So you're going to add more to this, and as he said, it takes about 5 minutes. Now we're at 6,300 feet elevation, so 5 minutes is pretty good for us. At lower elevations, you're probably going to need less time.
Yep. And you're going to know how your kitchen works. And this is all practice. Because what ends up happening is, and I apologize for the rumbling, once you finish this up and prep it, it goes in the oven. And you're going to cook it for about 7 to 9 minutes, depending on where you're at. And I can't tell you exactly the timeline because every oven cooks differently, every altitude affects it, and you know, it is what it is.
And it's taken us a while to figure out how to even do it here because we've had to fiddle with it for years.
Yeah, and being at 6,300 feet, I can't go with 375 because it's not warm enough. Or if I do it at 375, I'm cooking the eggs for close to 15 minutes, and that's not really, if you're trying to have a nice, hearty, quick breakfast, that took this out. So I usually do it at 385 here because of that elevation change. And then I cook it for about 9 minutes, and then you let it sit, and then it'll cook even more because the bowls will get hot. You want to let them stand. Because if you decide, hey, I'm going to just dive right into it,
you'll burn the inside of your mouth.
Yeah, it needs to cool. All right, so timer went off. We've already grabbed 3 out of the pan. This is the hot part because these bowls will be hot. So you want to have oven mitts that are cool enough. They're out, they're done, ready to go. So you take your dollop of butter, and I usually do the butter first because at least that way I remember, because I've done this where I forgot and Siobhan's going, where's the butter? I'm like, what butter? Oh, that butter, I missed it, oopsie. So you got your butter in, you take 1 more tablespoon of heavy cream. All right, that's it. You've added the stuff. Now,
you've done everything you need to do. And then it says 1 tablespoon more of cream, as you just saw. Then you add salt, pepper, and seasonings of any, along with the dot of butter. So we did the butter first, then we added the cream. Now, we often add garlic, parsley, and cheese. This is where you'll add that. And then and more onions, and then there's salt and pepper as well.
So I'm going to put a little bit of salt. That one's done. A little bit of pepper. Green onions back in. Done. And then since I know that one's
you can tell
mine.
which one is his.
And then you put a little bit of cheese on top. And it doesn't have to be perfectly flat. It just, you want to have enough cheese in there that it works. There you go. All right. I'll put a little bit of parsley on top. There we go. All done. And that is what it looks like. You throw this in the oven and sit back and wait. For us, we wait 9 minutes.
It bakes 9 minutes long so that you can, what you're doing now is you're melting the butter, but you're also congealing the whites, and you're cooking the yolk. So, you know that it's cooked all the way through because everybody has a cow about salmonella and raw eggs. These will not be raw, I guarantee it. The yolk is probably at least going to be half hard. That's the idea, and everything's cooked solid so that you won't have to worry about that, and the whites will be less snotty.
Yep.
The only trick is because you have that cream and you have the butter, it's going to jiggle. Don't worry, that's part of those extra liquids we added to it. But it'll come out really looking great, and in about 9 minutes or 8 minutes,
8 minutes,
we'll show you what they look like. How do they look?
They look good. So they are done. So what I look for is the actual sides to be cooked as my telltale sign that it's been done. Because at least in that sense, they've been cooking on the inside, and so as it made contact with the outside, it just created the internal cooking and the warmth. So we're gonna let this sit for about 5 minutes.
Otherwise it will torch your mouth when you're eating it.
Yep, because these ramekins are probably close to, well, I mean, the oven was at 385, so I mean, you're talking about a ceramic dish that's almost 400 degrees. I would not put my tongue anywhere near that.
No.
And the roof of my mouth would truly hate me if I ate a piece of
egg. Yeah.
So that's it. I mean, with that, if you want, you can cook breakfast sausage, ham, whatever you want to have with it.
Yeah, hash browns or potatoes of any kind. You can do it while these things are cooling as well. You're going to need at least 5 minutes, probably more like 8 minutes to cool. But it says, if you wish to wait a bit before serving, remove from the oven slightly underdone and they will finish cooking on their own. And stay warm in the water for 10 to 15 minutes. You can do that. We just let them sit out and actually cool, so they're actually edible. Yep. Otherwise, it's just so hot that it won't work.
And at the end of the day, you can have other things with it, or you can eat it by itself. It is a pretty hearty meal. I mean, 2 eggs are a lot of protein. Right,
and she said variations. Add chopped green herbs to the cream, like parsley, chives, tarragon, or green onions. Place in the bottom of the dish after the butter, but before the eggs, a spoonful of minced cooked vegetables, fish or chicken livers, chicken pieces, whatever you'd like. If you want to add meat to these, you totally can. Sprinkle coarsely grated cheddar or Swiss, or Asiago, or Romano, or Parmesan, or whatever. Yep. Anything you'd like. You can flavor these anything. Basically, you just need to know the basics, and you can add whatever you want for individual people. So, like, he wanted flax seeds, and she only wanted 1 egg. But you can also add, well, I want chicken, or I want fish, or and you can do it even in cooking the whole thing together. You can do individual changes in serving sizes.
We've let it cool for about 5 minutes. With this dish, I don't know what kind of plates you have. I would recommend using some sort of stone or ceramic plate. We have some glass plates that we use for, as you've seen in some of our other dishes. These will not go on a glass plate at all because I don't need it to explode.
Yeah, we don't want to shatter glass all over the kitchen.
So I just grabbed a couple stone plates, and so I'll just transfer them to a stone plate. So when you cut into it, this could have gone just a little longer. There's still a little juice in it, but from the milk. But the egg, darn it.
Is that one not quite cooked enough?
Not entirely. This part is cooked. So it might have a little snottiness, and that could be because this is a thicker walled ramekin. And so, but the cream is still here, and the egg is cooked. So it's done. Actually, it is done. It's a lot of the butter and the cream that's throwing me off.
Yeah, butter, cream, and oil.
So that's it.
So that's it. And that makes a really nice brunch recipe, again, that you can individualize without having to do a ton of extra work. You can just shred some chicken, or you can put in some salmon. You could probably do smoked salmon. You probably could.
Yeah. And if you like your eggs more on the near hard side, cook it longer.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you want it far more runny, cook it shorter. I mean, you want to make sure that the outside of the egg is cooked. And that's about it.
Yeah, and it works out as a really nice hearty breakfast that you can add all sorts of stuff to. Your own little personal omelet.
Yep. And I mean, the biggest thing is
Just don't add tomatoes.
Yeah, I would say don't add
because that's more liquid you have to cook.
And that's where the hardest part is, because you've got the butter, you've got the cream and all that floats to the top. It is a little bit of a challenge where it's like, did it fully cook? And also the cheese matters. Some cheese will sweat oils that others won't. And the Dubliner does a little bit more than when we use them on Chego.
Yep.
So
that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. Definitely subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell to let you know when other videos are done. Like and comment on the video. Like the channel. Join us. Let us know if you tried it. Let us know what changes you made, and let us know what else you're interested in seeing. So thank you for joining us. Happy making, happy baking, happy eating, and happy reading.
Bye, everyone.